Hello, hello. You're now listening to Music Marketing Club podcast, where we bring you ideas, strategies, and guests with knowledge that can help independent musicians build more fan base that become loyal followers, and also for the musicians to make a profit from their music and creativity on the internet. Here at Wivvu Music, our goal is to be instrumental in your musical success. So, for this episode, I'm going to give you 5 ways you can turn your life around that no one really talks about, and it doesn't involve money, just some imagination and time to figure out what you really want and commit to go after it. You see, there was a time when I was a musician and homeless, working in Starbucks and sofa surfing from my friends' houses. And during that time, I was also recording songs and releasing mixtapes. I even had someone that paid some on iTunes at the time and other mixtape channels. And of course, I also sold some physical CD copies too. So really, I lived a struggling musician life too. I also had a girlfriend at the time who was my supervisor that I worked with in Starbucks, and she was a good woman. After a few months of being together, she raised the discussion of getting a place together. So long story short, we decided to go for a place together, right? So we rented a studio flat in London, and at the time I still had dreams of being a successful musician that earns a lot of money for each verse that they recorded. But in reality, I was struggling. I released songs and mixtapes, and only a few people will engage with it, whether it was online or in the real world. But I would receive good reviews on the mixtapes or the songs from those that actually listened. And then one day it hit me that it meant I had to learn how to promote my music so that more people would discover it and listen to it. One problem though, I was still broke at the time. I couldn't afford to buy adverts in magazines or posters on buses or on TVs or other places like musicians with record deals could. I couldn't afford anything else after the rent was paid. At the time, I went to work in some slip-on shoes. 3 months after moving into the studio flat, our bags were still unpacked. We had no TV, no furniture, just a sofa bed that came with the place. Things then started to become a burden on me, you see. I felt like, as a man, I was failing to provide my woman the bare minimum essentials to make a house our home. I had no money to treat her or take her out on dates, and my music wasn't reaching more people. And people were not buying either. I would go out with friends and I wouldn't eat because I wasn't hungry, but really it was because I couldn't afford to eat, you see. I then started feeling depressed with all this going on. She broke up with me and decided to leave the country and go back home. I felt like a failure, but I kept going to work. I also then started having writer's block every time I would sit to write a song. I then lost the passion to record music. Sounds so cliche saying this, but in fact, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Then as if by chance something amazing happened. I saw a video advert on YouTube about how to be successful selling things online. Essentially, the person spoke about breaking down annual income goals into small monthly goals so that they are achievable. Like, let's say if you sell a product that costs $100, right? And your goal is to make $100,000. What you need to do is then divide $100,000 by $100, which will give you 1,000 products. So that means you need to sell 1,000 products in 1 year to make the money, or 84 products a month over the course of 12 months will get you the money. And this concept blew my mind. I then had the epiphany. What if I sell tickets to shows, album sales, merchandise, and then divide them up into small monthly goals like you showed me? I could do it too. My thoughts after seeing this exciting way of earning money for myself was, this seemed possible. I felt like I could do it. I was the best salesperson at my branch of Starbucks, and I knew I was decent at selling. But working there, I also knew that selling and marketing goes hand in hand. And marketing can make selling easier, which means if I knew how to market, selling the product or the music would be easier. So I decided the plan was to get myself together and feeling positive again, and also start learning marketing, especially music and on the internet, so I could sell music and other products online. I still had to deal with depression, finding a new place for myself again, and the challenge of learning this marketing thing. In the end, I bought loads of books and audio programs on personal development, and I'm about to share some of the top 5 lessons that I got from them and the things I still do till this day. See, I also bought books, audio programs, online courses, and I was even mentored on marketing. I also then enrolled to university to study business management with marketing. I then enrolled onto a master's degree to further study digital marketing. This then allowed me to become well-knowledgeable and informed in marketing and how to make it work, right? Which meant that I can now sell products and services well on the internet. In the end, I was able to work for 2 marketing agencies and rebuild my life back together and help others achieve their goals of selling their products and services online, and also teach some of them on how to market their products and services and music on the internet without spending tens of thousands of dollars or pounds on university and time on it. Alright, so here are the top 5 ways to turn your life around starting from today, and you'll be able to see at least incremental results that will compound over time within a month, 2 months and onwards. So number 5 is the understanding that success is not pursued, it is attracted. So let's break this sentence down. I would assume you know what is and it and not means. So let's look into the other 3 words in the sentence. These are the success, pursue and attracted. So according to Oxford Dictionary, right, success means the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. According to Earl Nightingale, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal or a goal, which seems similar enough. Now let's look at pursue. Pursue means to follow or chase something or someone. Okay, cool. So now let's look at attractive. Attractive now means having qualities or features which arouse interest. So now let's take a second and let it soak in what each word in the sentence of this philosophical thinking means. You see, only the meaning of success has factors that can change for each person because each person has different goals and aims or purpose. The other 2, pursue and attracted, means what it means no matter what the end goal or the aim is. So you see, instead of pursuing something so hard, for example, being in a rat race chasing the same thing for the past 10 years or 20 years and still finding yourself in the same situation, that's a sign that you're pursuing something without becoming the type of person that attracts that kind of success or thing, right? So now let's talk about how to become a person that attracts success. I'm going to use a few examples to illustrate the point. So let's say you wanted to attract your ideal woman or partner. So let's say to you that person is 10 out of 10, right? In the league 10, let's say, right? Now, how do you arouse her interest or this person's interest? Logically, you need to change some things if you are already not that person at that level yet. So for example, dressing like a person that's at 5 will not attract the 10. Having personality traits of someone that's considered to be at the 2 will not even register at the 10 level, you know what I mean? So what you do is start changing some things about yourself to become more attractive person yourself. For example, you could get fashion advice, you could work on insecurities and be more confident, and all the qualities and features that will arouse the interest of the ideal 10 out of 10 partner. I hope you get this illustration. Okay, so let me give you another one. So here's another example, right? Let's say your goal or your aim or worthy ideal was to be a Grammy Award winning musician. What I would recommend you do is study what it was that made the past Grammy Award winning song so distinctive in the category that you want to go for. I mean, you need to understand the subject matter, the concept of the lyrics, the cadence, the instruments, what really makes those songs stand apart, so level apart from all the other songs that were released. And you will start to implement those features, those qualities in your songs and continue to practice those until you own it. And you will see that you and your songs will start to attract attention at that level of magnitude too. And to be fair, it must be noted that to make these kind of changes, if you are not already that type of person, you will require to study some new things that you weren't doing before. You will need to implement them and continue to work on them, or you kaizen yourself like my Japanese friend will say. How about another example? Let's say that you are at work and you want to become the best salesperson there. So you study the person at the top, or the successful person at the top rather, or from other people that have been at the top in the past and still maintains being at the top. You learn what qualities make them different and what features about them sets them apart from all their other staff members, let's say. And then you implement those qualities and features, and over time you continue to practice it, and you see the changes in yourself too. Now, regarding this example in particular, there are loads of books on Amazon about how to become a top salesperson. So I would recommend that you go for some of those if this is something that you would like to attract. So number 4 is affirmations, or kind of like mantra, but for yourself. And this is like turning some of your thoughts into your personal cheerleader from the inside out. One of the best affirmations to build your self-esteem, which I learned from Brian Tracy, is you say to yourself, I like myself over and over again. And it works. Throughout the years, I've updated this to say, I like myself and people like me too. I like myself, and people like me too. Well, you see the pattern. Another great affirmation to build your self-confidence is to say to yourself, I can do it, I can do it. And even when you have nothing to do in the moment, and especially during the times when you face a challenge, you say in your mind, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And within a few months, when challenges come your way, you will automatically say to yourself, of course I could do it, and smile to yourself. You'll be surprised. Another one of my personal affirmations that I say to myself a lot is, I like that the world is happy and safe to me, my friends, and my family. Now, if you don't have your own affirmations, I would recommend you start saying these 3 to yourself to build your self-esteem, and eventually you would start thinking of your own and updating them over time too. Okay, so now let's talk about number 3, which is visualization. Now, if you read the book called Secret or seen the movie, then you have an idea of what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, here's an example. Let's say I ask you to imagine walking into your kitchen, open the fridge door, and at the top row of the fridge door, grab the jam jar that's in there. Now that's visualization. Whether you have a fridge or a jam jar, the chances are, even though you may not be in the kitchen at this moment, you can actually see all those images in your head or in your mind. And you can use that to get what you want from life. See, consciously you know that you're not in the kitchen, but subconsciously you could take yourself back into the kitchen on the inside, if that makes sense, right? You see, the difference between imagination from remembrance and imagination from visualization is future based. So, how do you visualize what you want easily even though you don't have those things already? So you can't really remember it as easy as the fridge example. The easy example and tip I can give you is, you grab a pen and paper and you sit down, you draw a line down the page, and on the left you write down what you don't want. And across the line on the right, you start imagining what the opposite of what you don't want would be, and you write it down. And from here, stop focusing on what you don't want and only focusing on what you do want. So here's an example. So let's say, for example, you don't want to be dirt poor anymore, and you don't want to be wearing cheap or torn clothes anymore, and you don't want to come home worrying about what you will eat or feed the family anymore, so on and so forth. So you write all these down. Now across the page, that would mean that you want to be wealthy, you want to be wearing expensive, stylish or designer clothes, you want to come home from work and there's food on the dining table and the family are fed or able to eat. You now write these down on the right, and from now you only think about and imagine or visualize the life that you want on the right side of the page, and see in your mind's eye what that will actually look like and feel like when you get it. Truthfully, this is a daily task and it's hard to do, but every time you catch yourself thinking about how dirt poor you are or how sad life is and all that, remember to think that this is not what you want, and focus on what you want, or visualize or imagine what being wealthy or being happy actually looks like and feel like. Okay, so we're getting close. So number 2 is goal setting, which is part of the previous point, visualization, but goal setting is uniquely different in its own right. So now that you know what you do want, what you do is write out the things you want in future into a sentence with a deadline. The deadline makes it a goal that can be measured on whether it is achieved or not, instead of a wish. But there's a way to structure the goal, so in your mind you know when you have achieved it and the reason why you want to achieve it, as this gives power behind the goal, and so does the deadline, of course. So for example, a few of my goals are, I'm so happy and grateful now that I own and run 2 flourishing businesses by a certain date, because this is the easiest way for me to earn loads of money by serving many people and businesses successfully. Another goal is, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm financially secure and earning £20,000 or more per month in wages by a certain date, because with this I can raise an even more happy and healthier children, enjoy an even more fun lifestyle for myself, and be even more productive from my resources. Here's another one. Another goal is, I'm so happy and grateful now that I meet and chill with Currency by a certain date, because he's my favorite rapper. I learn a lot from him, so I want to give back loads of values to him and his businesses. Now, I'm not really going to read out all my goals, but you may have noticed a few patterns in them. They all start with, I'm so happy and grateful now that so and so. Next is so and so, or the goal is in present tense. Now this is for your subconscious. I haven't achieved these goals yet, and consciously I know that, But just like the fridge door example, my subconscious can take me there on the inside, which helps with visualizing these goals. Another pattern is the dates or the deadlines. They all have their own dates and deadlines. Another pattern that you may have noticed is they all have a reason why I want them. They have it because so and so reason. I highly recommend that you try this goal setting activity for yourself. But if you're doing this goal setting thing for the first time, I would recommend that you pick one goal, write it out in this format. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am so and so by this certain date because ... And then you read it out every morning when you wake up and at night within an hour or so before you go to bed for the first 30 to 60 days, so the first month or 2 months, and keep doing it. Also mix it up with some visualization of this goal that you want in between the days. So in the morning you read it, in between the day you visualize it or you kind of daydream it, and then in the nighttime before bed you read it one more time. So try this out and message me about your results of finance at support@wivvumusic.co.uk, and I'll be interested to know how this works for you too. So we are finally at the first or the top tip that I would like to give to everyone, each and every one of you. And it is knowing what your ultimate goal or purpose in life is and doing things every day that contributes to it. You see, during my late teens, I thought that would mean I would have to go through some esoteric pilgrimage style or journey to discover what my purpose in life is. But long story short, it comes down to looking deep into yourself and being true to yourself about what you truly love doing and what you could do every day of your life that makes you happy. And it also helps you too if this thing you want to do positively affects the happiness of other people around. And I will also add that if the rewards, both emotionally and monetary, for this activity is large enough, then that's an amazing bonus for you and your family and others around you. So for example, one day, well, it was a continuous thought that marinated in my mind for some weeks, and one day I sat down and wrote down, what do I love doing? What do I want to achieve in my life or be remembered for? How can I make the world a better place? And if there's money in it too, so then I could support my family and myself and have money to support my cause and to make this purpose happen. So I decided the world will be a better place if the success secrets of the ultra wealthy and fortunate can be shared with the poor in communities such as Africa, South America, Asia, and many parts of the world, so that they can have the skills and opportunities to build a better life for themselves and families, opposed to being stuck in generations of poverty. Because I do believe that having money is a great resource for better living, a better quality of life, and better healthy options, even better food quality, and better clothing materials and machines and salaries. And also money opens ways to other resources to support your family and communities. So I decided my role in this to make the world a better place will be to share my findings of the secret with those that want to know, musicians that need the directions, people that are poor and need a change, and via the internet I'll be able to reach more people, musicians and others all around the world, and make a change. You see, I love marketing, I love researching, and luckily they both pay well. So I asked myself, who do I need to become to make this goal or purpose happen? And I decided to continue improve my marketing skills so that I could reach more people, to continue the research of these successful money making secrets, both mentality wise and physical actions that need to take place for the success to happen, and implement them for myself to test them to make sure they work. So I'm using myself as a guinea pig, let's say, to make sure they work, and if they work I can earn a bit more money to reach more people, vice versa. And if it doesn't work, then back to the drawing board and improve what needs to be done to attract the success by the time I'm 60, 80 and onwards. Other things on my list to do includes improving my public speaking skills, worry less about what people think, and to be more positive emotionally and well-rounded. Another is that at some point to have a woman that truly understands me and is ready to support me towards these goals, and have the goals of her own that I can support, and together we'll build our goals and visions together. And finally, continue doing more assertive things, holding my boundaries and staying on my path. By doing something, no matter how big or small, that contributes to this overall goal or purpose of mine. Alright, this is starting to seem very long now, and I could geek out about this topic all day, every day. So let's wrap this up here. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode and found it inspirational and took some notes of yourself to use. So, alright, look out for the next episodes and stay tuned to the Music Marketing Club podcast. Enjoy your day to the next episode.